Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. It's good to be with you this morning. It certainly is a bright, sunny day where I am, and I hope it is where you are too. And even if it is cloudy, I hope your day is full of excitement and joy and great things happening. This morning, I'd like to continue my weekly talk about Numbers chapter 6. And in this, we find verse 25. Now, yesterday, I talked about the first half of the verse, and today I want to talk about the second half. But I'll read the whole thing, so we'll put it in context. This is the blessing that Aaron was to, and his sons were to give to the people of Israel. I'll read this whole thing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Well, I talked about the Lord making his face shine upon you yesterday. Today I want to talk about this comment, and be gracious unto you. What does it mean to be gracious? If someone is gracious, what kind of qualities do they exhibit? Well, they exhibit kindness, uh, acceptance, loving attitude. They're grateful. The word gracious comes from. They're they're thankful. Now that's not what a lot of people exhibit most of the times in their lives. And and I know we don't live in a perfect world, and you're not going to live in a perfect life. So maybe it's asking too much to think that we can be gracious all the time. But maybe it's not. The key measure as to whether you're gracious or not is how you respond when something bad happens. Um, when I was in the hospital recently, uh, I don't think I made it up. I suppose I could have. But I always thanked everybody who did something, even when it hurt, like getting blood work every morning. Uh, I just thanked them for taking care of me. And, and when we develop an attitude like that, even when things aren't going good, we will express graciousness. I've said many times to folks, your words are very kind and gracious. I mean that. I know people don't have to talk that way. I know a lot of people don't talk that way. I know a lot of people who talk to me don't talk that way. So I'm sure you've experienced the same kind of thing. But here, the prayer is that the Lord would be gracious to you. What Aaron and his sons are asking here is that in all the dealings with mankind, God will be gracious. Now, I know in the Old Testament there are a lot of things that don't indicate God's graciousness. But every once in a while, you get a little nugget that's sort of a fore looking to the example of Jesus in his life. And this is one of them. In the midst of trying to establish a country, in the midst of being in a strange land, in the midst of coming out of bondage, God tells Aaron, this is how I want you to speak to the people. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Graciousness is a part of the character of God. It's tapping into that understanding of who God really is. Now, a lot of people think God is a whole bunch of things, and graciousness is not one of them. A lot of people seem to think that God's out to get them, or God's punishing them. The reality is they're probably just punishing themselves. But God wants the best for you and for me. That's why he created us. We're not accidents. We're not afterthoughts. God didn't go, oops, look at that person. He created us to embody His kindness and gracious to everybody we meet, even if they're not gracious to us. Now, I gotta admit, sometimes I get a little upset with other drivers. They cut me off or do some goofy things. And I shouldn't do that. I confess that's wrong. And usually after I've done it, I realize, oh man, gosh, why did I say that? Why did I think that? The human nature in us does not allow for graciousness. The human nature of sin in our lives allows for get even, for anger, for resentment, for vengeance. And that's totally opposite of what God wants and who God is. So today I'd like you to think about your life. If you're really, what's the right word here? If you're really intentional, get a little notebook and write down, how do you respond in different situations? Do that for a couple of days. Then go back and look at it and see how well you did. That's not a scorecard to see who wins. Uh, Nobody wins or loses in this thing, but it's simply a way for you to objectively look at your life and see if you're really doing what you say you want to do. And if you are, fantastic. That's incredibly wonderful. But if you're not, well, now you see some areas where you can improve. And maybe you might even find some situations that are particularly difficult for you to share graciousness. But the blessing here is that God will show graciousness onto each of us. And He really means that. And as a result of that, we can share graciousness to those that we meet. Well, it's a little shorter than some of my other devotions, but I think I'll end it here. I hope you have a really great week, upcoming weekend. If you have a need or a concern or a prayer request, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. So thanks so much for listening. I just hope you have a wonderful, fantastic day. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.